every single relationship goes from chemistry to casual to committed. And when you understand where you're at and where someone else might be, then I can help someone up level a relationship with communication, trust, and respect.
Hello and welcome to the Love Launch Podcast. I'm Joey Chandler, and this is where we talk to experts and entrepreneurs and entertainers about what love means to them and how we can have more of it in our lives. Today, we're talking about love and how to go from loneliness to love with relationship coach and expert and best-selling author, just all sorts of things, Michelle Hoffman. Michelle, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Joey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I have to say one thing I love about your bio is that you wrote, because life is better with good love in it.
That's right.
Could you just say a little bit about that? Because that's so beautiful.
Well, my story essentially brought me to that because as a little girl, I dreamed of falling in love with the right person. And literally, like, when you're little and maybe you get a birthday cake with candles and you wanted to like close your eyes and blow out the candles and make a wish. Every single year was the very same sort of image in my head, and it was a little unclear, but I knew that as I grew up, the puzzle pieces would fit together and fill out that picture, because I wasn't wishing for a pony. I was wishing for a partner. And I really wanted to have an incredible partner who we could build a life together and share adventures together. And sure enough, as I grew up, I was very clear about who this person was going to be to fit into my life and who I was going to be in their life. And when I found him, I knew, and he knew even faster than I did, which is kind of a fun story. And together I got all of my dreams to come true. I really did. We were not living this magnanimous life. It was our life. And together we built a home. We built a family. We welcomed children in. We built a life together. And it was, as far as I was concerned, perfect until he died. And that left me alone and lonely and head of household, a sole parent, and you guessed it, single. I was like, it was so painful. I didn't know if I could love again. I just didn't know if I could do it. And I figured it out. I created a process and figured it out. And then a friend of mine who I used to go running with in high school went out for a run, had a heart attack, and died. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And of course, based on the story I just told you, I did know what to do. And I couldn't do nothing. So I went to his widow and said, this is never going to be okay. I'm going to hold your hand and walk this journey with you. And she was only planning dinner that day, and then suddenly she has to plan a memorial for her now late husband. It's like mind and life spinning. And the depth of this loneliness of just having the person you've been dreaming of your whole life be absent. And there's no easy way in, there's no easy way out. I don't compare stories. Her story was, in the morning her husband was there, in the afternoon he was gone. We had a cancer journey, so we had time to think it through. There's literally, when you feel this kind of loss, it's how do you rebuild and reconnect to attract, keep, and enjoy the next right love in your life. And now I have clients who come to me because they can see that I help people through this. They may have never actually found that love in the first place, whether they didn't have role models for it, or they didn't have a path for it, or they're very successful professionally, but they don't know how to translate that into their personal lives. So for whatever reason, they know this ache is there and it's missing. There's something in your heart that's missing. I mean, genetically, we must be predisposed for this. because we're seeking that connection. So to go from lonely to love is now what I've become an expert at, and helping people there to bridge that gap.
Wow, that's amazing. And sorry for your loss, but and huge
Thank you.
props to you for all of that work and moving forward. It must have been a huge um, benefit to your friend who lost her husband. Like as a resource, you must be quite amazing. And do you
That's actually what I wrote a book on it. So I wrote the guide I did not have, and it became an international bestseller. And that's how people started to come to me to say, can you help me through this? And of course, what they want more than anything else is to feel that connection again, that love again.
interesting? And is most of the people you work with then people who have are going through a major loss like that?
So the originally, yes. But what was so interesting was people were coming to me from all scenarios. So I do help people through grief. I've also learned that it's a similar process to help someone through trauma, to help someone through being in one place in their life, like single. And if you really are ready to be in a relationship, and I say when the pain of this problem is greater than the action required to resolve it, you will take action. But if what you've tried in the past isn't working, then they come to me because they see that I'm helping people rebuild their lives after loss. And if you've got it going on and really what you're looking for is your relationship ready, you're ready to dive into the dating pool, and you want to be able to identify someone else who's relationship ready as opposed to someone who might drag you down with them. So you're looking for your correct partner who you can, like I was saying for myself, share adventures and go through time with rather than being worried you're going to die alone. It's really, finding the right fit for you so that you can share your best life together and be something more than just yourself. So originally it was widows and widowers, and what everyone really wants is to find their second soulmate, and you can have more than one soulmate. So really it's about understanding who you are now, not who you used to be. So you're not seeking a love that you may have wanted earlier on in your life, but it's seeking the right love for who you are right now and knowing the core values that you have and aligning them with who you're inviting in. So it's certainly not widows and widowers. It's not just widows and widowers anymore. It's single people who are ready to be in a healthy relationship.
Well, I want to get to some of those ideas, what we have to do to get ready for a healthy relationship. But I have one question. I'm curious if you can say, what is something that you've learned about love, having been a widow and working with widow and widowers, that maybe people who haven't experienced that loss don't realize?
Oh, okay. So that's a complicated question. Because I work with everyone, but what you're asking specifically in this question, if I understand you right, is what is that loss? What is the pain of that kind of loss? Um,
And what has it taught you about love? Because
oof,
I know, like, going through,
okay,
like, I know more about love now going through my own separation than I did before. This is I've learned things from it. And what I'm curious is I haven't suffered a loss like that. And I'm curious something that maybe you have learned
right,
from that process that maybe you wouldn't have learned had you not experienced that loss.
right. So what I've learned is what good love really looks and feels like.
Hmm.
And I got the good fortune of having that. There are bereaved widows and there are relieved widows, unfortunately. I'm a bereaved widow, meaning the relationship that I had with my husband was so incredibly good that people are still talking about it from all over the world. They'd be like, when we saw the two of you in the same room, the whole room lit up differently and more brightly. It was just such an incredible connection. And there are different types of love. There's friendship love, there's passionate love, there's paternal or maternal love, There's love that's developed over long periods of being connected and having shared experiences together. There's self love. There's so many different types of love. So what I think that you're asking is kind of a come get under the covers and find out what would it be like if your relationship was so good and then there was loss. Because again, I don't compare stories. People who've gone through a separation or a divorce, the devastating part of that feeling for me is somebody who you were ready to be that vulnerable with and share your open heart and share your everything with, who you're entrusting to make decisions in your best interest on your behalf, even when you're not there. Somehow something was out of alignment. And there are really two primary reasons that relationships are thrown out of alignment that I've seen working with people. But when a relationship is thrown that far out of alignment, when you've been, so connected through government, through religion, through community, by being married together or something, a similar connection, that it's such a feeling of betrayal when you trusted someone with everything and now they're sitting on the other side of the attorney's desk from you. And I'm just like, okay, that's a very different feeling than to answer your question. And this is how I help people move through trauma and grief and loss. And even this is how I would help, someone moving through a difference in a change in a relationship like that, to identify, and I'll use the word grief because that, I can use all of them again, but identify what that grief holds from that experience. And it means, and grief is complicated and it's ambiguous and it roams the house and smothers the children at night. And when you're trying to get something done, this grief will like well your eyes up with tears and blur your vision when you're trying to drive. It'll slam your head against the wall, drop you to the kitchen floor, put its foot on your neck, and prevent you from breathing or seeing your future. And you're like, what just happened here? That was not how I had life planned. No matter what developmental change or, turn in the road that your life has just taken, there's a change. And the roles and identities and your understanding of how your path in life was supposed to go is no longer an option for you. So how do you release the who you used to be and acknowledge who you are now so you can step into who you're becoming, who you'd like to become? Because you're going to become something, whether you take action and put intention into it or not. So I literally invite that experience in. We can do this together, have a cup of tea, and have a little understanding of what does this experience or this grief hold that might have a hold on you, which will keep you stuck from moving forward. And more importantly, if you can identify what that life experience held that you treasure and you can honor that, that's how you can make that life experience, no matter how traumatic or difficult or hard it was, that's how you can get that to help move you forward into who you would like to step into becoming rather than staying stuck in the suffering.
Interesting. And
So
is
honoring who my husband was and
was
all that he has brought into my life and so many people's lives, that's how I move through it. And that's what people are missing that they may not know, but they know there's something.
yes. And is anger part of that? Like
Anger can be part of that. I think all emotions are super valuable, like all of them. I was talking with a group last night and they were talking about anxiety. And it's like, well, anxiety, what is that based on? It's based on fear. Anger also is like an out of control situation when things are not going the way you want and you can't communicate or manipulate, or there's no power enough to get things going the way you want them to be going. So all of these emotions are so important. They're like landmarks on the GPS of where do you need to go next. And so is anger part of that? Absolutely. Why not? And I will meet people where they're at, whatever emotion they're having, and we can figure out, why is that important? What is this anger telling you? Because I mean, literally, I did a whole workshop on the secrets of happiness and how to get there. And part of that, it came to an understanding after all the research that I did from philosophers and monks and scientists and, all this stuff. And I'm like, so my conclusion here really is that we are these entities with these incredible brains that can pull data in through our five senses, or maybe our six. We've got intuition. We include the data from our experience. We add all those things up, and then we make decisions on whether to do something or not. But that's all we have to go on. So is this data that's coming in, and how we interpret that emotion into enough information to know what to do about it. So anger is a really important emotion because it's telling you that you're in an out of control situation, you're not happy, and it's going to move, it's going to incite you to move to something so that you can get control of a situation.
Yes. Wow. That's, yeah, there's so much. There's some, we talk about that for a long time. Uh, um, you're an expert in helping people go from lonely to love. And I'm
Mhm.
curious, is there a process? Are there some stages if I'm feeling lonely, or maybe I think I'm lonely, but I have some work to do beforehand? Like, how might I know when I'm ready to get back in the game, as they say?
I love that. Everyone, I believe, feels that they are relationship ready. And that's great because we want that kind of confidence. And literally, you do not need to wait until you're rich enough, that you get the promotion, that you have the fancy car, that your body, that you've got ripped abs, and that you're thin enough or thick enough or big enough or small enough. We want the confidence to be there, but you don't need to wait for that kind of stuff. What does need to happen, um I mean, that's not true. You could be relationship ready if you're looking for someone to save you, if you're really going to be um submissive in the relationship. So there's no right or wrong way. I'm very, very cautious about keeping my own choices and my life experience. They can totally be different than my clients. So, but moving with intent is really important. And if you're looking for someone to save you, then we need to find someone who's looking for someone to save, and make sure that it's actually the right fit and their core values are the same to go forward. So I kind of went off on a tangent because I was going to make a profound statement and I'm backpedaling. Um, More importantly, this is the process, and I've designed this process and it works for everyone. And if you are feeling lonely and you are ready to be in a relationship, oftentimes people will make an effort. They might, ask their friends, who do you know who's the right fit for me? And in this day and age, you know, going online to do a personal profile was, I was scared, like scared that I would be killed, scared to death, kind of killed. Like whoever I was going to meet, that was going to go bad. So I didn't feel I could afford to go online dating. I didn't feel my family, my kids could afford it because I'm all they have left. I was like, I'm too fat, too this, too that, too old, too set in my ways, too X, too Y, too Z. Why can't someone just deliver a a prosthetic husband for me? Because I really loved being in that marriage relationship and that kind of deep partnership. I had a good experience in it also. And what I do now is realize that I teach people to trust themselves in intimate relationships, and how to advocate for themselves and navigate challenges in relationships, intimate relationships. But what happens is so great is that it works and flows in all relationships. And Every single relationship goes from chemistry to casual to committed. And when you understand where you're at and where someone else might be, then I can help someone up level a relationship with communication, trust, and respect. But what you're asking really is what are those steps to get there? And my point being, you could go online dating. And I highly recommend people, just as we invest time, energy, and money and resource to develop a resume for our professional life and our career trajectory, find someone who can help you represent yourself accurately. Because this is the biggest mistake people make in the dating world when they're finding the right love, is they put out there what they think might be the shiny object to attract someone. But then there's this, again, misalignment because they're not representing who they really are. And then that leaves people disappointed very quickly and angry. Why aren't you who you said you were?
Right. And also the person when you put yourself out there as this, extra version of you, that takes a lot of work and energy to maintain that, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, do they really like me? Do they like
Right.
me? And
For
the
my
person
avatar.
and the person on the other side is like, well, you haven't told me who you are. I don't know.
Right.
Who are you? And then you have to redate. You have
You
to
have to
go,
redate.
you have to,
There's a distrust that would be created there.
yeah.
And people don't understand what's wrong. But putting, in a online profile and just understanding this so clearly about yourself, 70% of it should be about who you are. 30% should be about who you would like to invite in. To know what your core values are, because having things and activities and hobbies in common are great, but having the same core values will ensure that you're both making decisions in the right direction and for each other. But if you have a disconnect in core value system, there's so often hear these words. Are you seeking approval from someone outside your core value system? It's so often we do this. And and then we like beg for attention and approval. And it's like not worth it. Keep to the people who have similar core values to you. So that's who we're looking for. Online dating or in person, we make decisions and assumptions in less than a tenth of a second through, like I said, all of the senses that we have that we can use. Then it's a matter of knowing how to connect with someone in a meaningful way to up level that relationship through communication, trust, and respect, as I said. Also, to know what the green lights are and what the yellow lights that you need to clear. It's like, did I not understand something? What are the red flags? These are the hard no, that is not in alignment with what I'm looking for. No harm, no foul, just not a match. So the process I take people through, first of all, is to ensure that you are stable in and of yourself. And I walk my clients through a confidence index in many different aspects of their lives. And that could be, do you know who you truly are? Do you know, just like a business has a board of directors, you can have an advisory board. Do you know who to go to for what? And how do you build that if you don't have one? I call this life in reverse. Do you have a clear understanding that your whole life is, well, you're mortal. I haven't met the immortals, or they haven't admitted it as of yet. What do you do in being a widow? Could you set up the end of life stuff so that the people who you love don't have to do that on your behalf? And what happens is it literally stabilizes you in your career, revenue, resource, financially, emotionally. It gives you stability in who you are and who you wish to be. We create a vision of who you are, and it becomes so easy to have fun along the way in health and self-care, and you can develop peak performance from doing this. Then you know what relationship ready actually looks like. And it's more than just the superficial. It's very, very deep. Can you create a legacy of love for those who at some point will leave behind? With that, then it's a matter of how do you attract, keep, and enjoy the right love in your life? Where are you looking? Who is it being attracted to you? And how, when you can identify the right one for you, do you know you can demonstrate to them that you're the right one for them? And I love that one of my clients basically just says that in a testimonial. He's like, I knew the relationship I was in was wrong for both of us. I understood who I was for the first time in my life very quickly. It's like literally the law of attraction. The right woman showed up for him, and he knew confidently that he could demonstrate to her that she was the right one for him, he was the right one for her, and they got married on the anniversary of when he and I started working together. So in a year's time, he got it all.
That's
It
awesome.
was fantastic.
That's awesome. And I you mentioned trusting ourselves,
Mm,
the importance of being able to trust ourselves. And if you're coming out of a bad relationship, or maybe you've never had that really great relationship,
right.
how do you help people trust themselves or learn to trust themselves? What's some things that people could do for that?
So this is a good one. And depending on the person, I will speak to people in a language they can understand. Of course, some are very logical, some are very emotional driven, some are very physical. So, one of the things, I'll give you an example, is to understand how you make decisions in the first place and what is this voice telling you? So, that inner voice that's saying something, and if we can slow your incredibly brilliant thought process down just enough to actually hear and ask, what are you afraid of? This came up last night. We were talking about anxiety. And there's a process that you can walk through that to actually disassemble an anxiety loop. And I'm going to give you something even simpler. So I help clients through the anxiety loop, and then they can like, oh, I got this now. If I just click one pivot over, just adjust one little thing, I get the outcome I actually want instead of cycling in the wrong direction. But here's another that is not as it's not taught. As I said, if you can welcome in the messages that your brain is getting you and just take a moment, take a breath. It should take as long as one breath when you're good at this, and go, what is it you're telling me? Anxiety or anger? What do I need to hear and what do I need to learn from this message? What is the fear? If I come, this is the topic last night was, what if I show up to a date and my date has not arrived yet? And I have to be very uncomfortable. I'm feeling I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong situation. I mean, or there was another one that came up. My ex boyfriend, who left for a level 1 reason as far as she was concerned, but he made it a level 10 reason to leave the relationship. So there was something else going on, as you can imagine. He's coming back to take me out to lunch, return some things, and have a conversation. And her inner voice was angry. This was her soulmate.
Hmm.
And she's like, what do I do? So, in those situations, I would give my clients the 3 easy steps to get through that situation. And rather than feeling victimized, be empowered. And if you can listen with your gut and say, what is that telling me? What's my gut instinct say? What is logic telling you in this situation? What is emotion suggesting? You can use these as a super easy, like I said, landmark guides to figuring out, why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling victimized? Why am I feeling uneasy that he's not going to show up? And what you want to do is figure out, are those out of alignment or in alignment? Because this is all about decision making. Should you decide to, um, you know, tell this guy that you thought he was your soulmate and he's not who he says he was? Is it that this person is going to stand her up on the date? Is it that, you betrayed me in this relationship? I thought we trusted one another. So those would be clear messages that something's out of alignment. So it's not until you can bring all of those in alignment that that inner voice is confidently going to tell you, you got this, you go, you got it, you know what to do here, without second guessing yourself.
Yeah, I imagine that takes practice. Takes a little work, I'm guessing.
it, it takes practice. Again, when you do it, usually what happens is I'll get a phone call and go, I need the 3 easy steps to bringing up a very difficult conversation with my boyfriend or my husband or whoever the person is. I'm thinking I had two in a week that were very similar, potentially relationship ending conversations. And these are people who were very happy to be in these relationships and very different topics. So difficult topics that needed to be addressed. They couldn't just be hidden under the table. And I gave them the 3 easy steps. And I said, if you can do these 3 easy steps, just like I said, you're actually going to be having great sex tonight. You're going to be closer than you've ever been. And they were like, okay.
Do you know how it worked out?
I do. I got a call the next day from one of them. And she's like, I did the 3 easy steps exactly like you said. Oh, we had great sex. Thank you. We are on solid ground. We've never been closer. The other one I did not hear back from the next day. I didn't hear back from them the second day. And on the third day, I got a phone call. And she said, I did the 3 easy steps. I did them exactly like you had told me to do them. Like I set up the environment, the physical situation. I gave her the script to say. I gave her everything because she really didn't know what to do. She said, I did it exactly like you said. We've been having great sex for 3 days. I didn't have time to call you before now.
That would qualify as a very good testimonial then. That's beautiful. Well, on that note, I think we'll start wrapping up here. But one of the things that I've been asking people, and I would love to hear from you, is what are, because we know fantasies and romance stories and all those things drive us, whether we like it or not. What are some of your favorite movies or books or songs that just speak romance to you?
The speak romances.
Or
I'll
love,
tell you.
however you'd like to say that.
Yeah. I'm going to surprise you with my answer, but not surprising now that you know me a little bit. My favorite song does not exist. My late husband and I decided because we were so different, our just in our presence, we were such different people that we wanted a compilation. So if there's any like DJ who wants to do this mix for me, that when we got married, we wanted our first dance to be a mix of ABBA's Dancing Queen and 9 Inch Nails. I want to fart you like an animal.
Okay, for everybody listening out there, ABBA's Dancing Queen and 9 Inch Nails, I want to like an animal. That could be a great what do you call it? Mix. That would be
Right.
awesome.
Right. So that I think would be my favorite song. The DJ did not know what to do with that at our wedding, and he played Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes. So good choice.
Sweet,
I
sweet.
love
Not
Peter.
quite the same as Dancing Queen and Animal, but sweet, yes.
um, a favorite book of mine, I was trying to think books that I've read more than once and why. I love time travel books. Outlander right now has become very popular. I read the book because to journey through that, it doesn't matter the time in which you live, meaning, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter your house, your home. It matters that your value systems are in alignment. It doesn't matter what century you're in. It's, are you willing and interested and committed to make decisions for someone else with the same level of commitment and intensity? And what are you willing to do to make decisions for someone else just like you would for yourself? That is it right there. And there was an interesting little book by Helene Wecker called The Golem and the Jinni. And these were two very different characters who, from different cultures, from different times, with different motivations, who came together and had to accept one another for who the other was because they were such unusual characters in this utopian world they were in. And how were they going to help and support one another in that way? And I think those are some of my favorite kinds of stories. Maybe that's why, I don't know if it's cause or effect, but that my late husband was someone who was so different than I am, but we could see each other. When you don't always know when it's wrong, but you know when it's right. I mean, the vibration that we shared together was so lock on. That's what you're looking for.
That's beautiful. My yeah, I love the Outlanders. Are really interesting because obviously it's very popular right now because on the TV
Yeah,
shows, and it helps that when Jamie looks as good as he does. I think that does not hurt, but it is a
right.
very interesting.
But I'll
My
tell you, you fall in love with someone, they get really good looking really fast.
That is true. That is true. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time for this. Any last words before we wrap up?
If you're looking to attract, keep, and enjoy the right love in your life, and you feel confident that I can help you with that, you can go to relationshipping101.com. You can download the essential tips to developing an online profile that really works. And you're welcome to reach out and connect with me personally because life is better with good love in it.
It really is. I will say that for sure. So thank you so very much. And to everyone, please ask yourself, what does love mean to you? And how can you have more of it? Obviously, Michelle could probably help you with that. And if you think she can, please, if you think she can, please reach out to her, take that action because as I've said, love, when two people can come together, given all the chaos in the world, it is a triumph of the human spirit. And that's what we're trying to make happen here. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next time on the Love Launch.
Thank you so much, Joey.
Bye bye.